Right, well, we're back.
It's my party and I'll cry if I want to.
No,
Cry if I want
it's Bros
to.
Bad Gaming. It's
Cry
not
if
Bros
I
Bad
want
Singing.
to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Da-da-da-da-da. That's the intro music, remember?
That's the intro music, is it?
Yeah.
So I think I'd scalpelled that expertly from my mind and my memory.
Had you?
But we're back, aren't we? It's been a while.
Has been a while,
Another BBG.
Today
we're
back.
We're staying in the fantasy realms of the Pathfinder universe.
Seems to be what the people want.
Yeah. So what's the story for today?
What's the story?
Yeah, from the bro.
From the bro. So, we have learned of the existence of an ancient tower.
Ooh.
Under which is said to be a labyrinthine dungeon.
Labyrinthine dungeon.
Labyrinthine dungeon.
Okay, right.
And so,
we're talking like, when you say labyrinth, like, we're talking big. We're talking
it's supposed to be multi-level dungeon.
all kinds of horrors and
underneath
and adventure and treasure. Okay.
That we're going to explore. So, we've heard that the ruins are about a week's travel through difficult terrain.
Right. Okay.
And so we get together additional supplies, a pack mule to carry the additional stuff that we'll need. Because we're going to be out there a while, obviously, including like moving into the dungeon, maybe coming back up, resting, moving back down, that kind of thing.
So you're paying out for a lot of long-term supply
Yeah,
here.
so we've bought ourselves a month's supply of gear, because there's also a week's travel there, a week's travel back. You get the idea.
Yeah. And any loot you want to carry back, you're going to need.
Whatever, food and stuff, then that leaves...
this all makes sense, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we get our gear together over the next day or two. And we head out.
Right.
First 4 or 5 days of travel, pretty uneventful. The going's reasonably good. We start moving into a more rocky, hilly territory, and this is where our travel starts to slow down a little.
Right.
During one of our rests at night, we're attacked by a pack of dire wolves.
Oh, right, okay. So
trying to catch us off guard.
So what's
mainly going for the horses?
Just for those who don't know. So, your characters are what level?
Oh, okay. So character is level 8, so quite powerful.
Yeah, quite decent. Okay.
But I'm multi-class, as
yeah.
said. So personally, my character is a wizard cleric.
Wizard cleric. Okay.
So I'm trying to become what's called a thaumaturgist. Someone who uses both divine and arcane magic together. So, the rest of the party, we have similar-ish levels, maybe a level behind. NPCs, so we've got an actual wizard, an actual cleric, thus making me kind of surplus to requirement in my own team.
You're extra fire support.
Yeah, I'm basically backup to my own team.
Now, these direwolves, though...
And there's a fighter and a rogue.
And what CR are the direwolves?
They're like CR3, I think.
So they're not really much of a threat. Your first encounter...
I guess the idea is because it's late at night. There's only like the rogue who's currently awake guarding.
Right.
And as I said, the wolves initially are mainly going for the horses.
Okay, right, yeah.
So the party has to quickly awaken. The horses are being attacked. We have to deal with the wolves quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too much of a difficulty. Like the wizard... lightning bolts one of them instantly to death.
So okay, that's quite a powerful spell to blast with.
Yeah, and the fighter uses her crossbow, kills another. The rogue is firing a short bow. I cast a low-level magic missile to try to back up one of the other. That's damaged,
as befits your fire support role.
Yeah. So we managed to defeat the wolves. The cleric heals up 2 of the horses that have been injured.
Okay.
We dragged the bodies a short distance, fearing that the dead wolves could attract other predators.
Okay, right.
And we rest again. In the morning, we hurriedly head off, deciding we don't want to hang around with the smell of rotting... bodies that could
charred wolves and
charred
stuff,
wolves that could draw other predators. We've still got another 2 or 3 days journey ahead of us.
Okay.
Off we go.
Off you go.
So going continues to be relatively tough, but we get over the rocky hills, and we're now into a kind of a relatively forested area. It's been another 2 days, so we're about a day, maybe less than a day from our target.
Okay.
And we think we're probably going to speed up quite a bit now. The forest isn't overly thick, so we're travelling reasonably
The
well.
dreams of loot and adventure to be had.
Yes, we're excited.
Rubbing your hands together.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get so much loot. It's going to be
rubbing our knees for excitement.
yeah. That's proper mental.
And it's later in the day when we hear strange barking sounds.
Strange barking sounds.
Yeah, strange barking sounds.
Right. Okay.
And then out.
So less of a kind of woof and more of a oh.
Well, you'll realise in a second why it's strange.
Right.
Because out of the greenery,
Right.
suddenly breaking through the thickets,
Yeah.
come a pack of hyenas.
Hyenas. Oh, right. Okay. That's all.
Quickly followed
Right.
by gnolls.
Oh, right. Yeah. Hyena people. Okay. Yeah.
So we suddenly find ourselves under attack. The hyenas are fast. They charge in, making their kind of almost laughing like sounds and barks,
Okay.
falling upon the party and trying to attack the horses we're obviously still riding. And the gnolls, they don't move in. They just support by firing their bows.
Right, in the middle of the chaos, yeah.
Yeah, so quickly, we're trying to get the hyenas. Once again, our horses are under attack. Trying to get the hyenas off, dropping down from our horses, those who are skilled to do so, like the rogue tumbles, landing and starts stabbing at one of the hyenas with her short sword. The wizard, once again, decides to try to quickly take out a gnoll.
Right, yeah.
With one of her spells, and the gnoll is badly injured. The fighter drops down, starting to just
hack away,
hack through. But being in their armour, they're slower to dismount from their horse, finding it difficult. I am kind of lightly thing because I'm a wizard as well as a cleric, so I can move a little more easily. But unfortunately, I'm not particularly great in close combat.
Yeah, you're not much of a brawler here.
So unfortunately, I don't manage to score a hit on the creature attacking my own. So the brawl becomes quickly a bit of a clusterfuck because the gnolls are staying back and just firing whilst these things are up close. Now, the hyenas themselves aren't particularly strong. It's there's a reasonable number, and they're quickly doing damage to the horses.
Right.
One of the horses rears up and bolts.
Oh.
So we're like, oh, damn, now we're going to, how we're going to
go track this horse.
We're going to have to get the horse back. Finally, we managed to cut down most of the hyenas. The fighter decides, screw this, I'm moving in. He charges in and just starts hacking at one of the gnolls, still trying to fire their bow into the armoured knight charging in at them. To no avail, they get basically run through by their longsword. So finally one of the gnolls actually dies. The wizard decides to sort of stay back and help with a few of the remaining hyenas, rather than also trying to support that. And our rogue just stays back, using a bow to try and return fire.
Okay.
The fight lasts several more rounds until finally the last of them are dead. Right. The last of the hyenas is down. The two remaining gnolls have been quickly brought down by attacks from some of the other party members, and the fighter that's now at close range and just laying in with multiple attacks.
Okay.
So we're concerned. This group obviously is patrolling the area. We've got a horse we've got to recover now. We've got several of us are wounded. One of the horses is badly injured.
Yeah,
did these gnolls come from the location we're heading to? Is that their base of operation?
You're close to it, as you said. You're less than a day's travel.
So we decide we're not going to travel any further. We send the rogue out, who also has some tracking skills.
Right.
They find the horse, luckily, and manage to bring it back. We decide to move from that area, but not too far, and set up camp. and we have several of us watching during the night. During the night, in the distance, we hear those weird yap sounds that hyenas make. So we know there's more of them out there. The next morning,
right,
geared up,
right,
off we go. Very prepared this time. We've got our rogue at the front, scouring, looking, checking. We see a kind of stony outcrop a distance away as the trees start to seem to kind of pitter out. There's less and less of them. The ground becomes a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
And like previously, we see a single kind of stony outcrop.
Right.
On which is the ruins of a tower.
Ah.
There's maybe 2 levels of it left, although I would say the second story is pretty much crumbling. And so perhaps only the first story of it is
It's not going to pass any health and safety checks on the second floor. No, it's a hard hat area.
And we quickly see signs of banners and so forth. Animal skins and even what we fear is the skin of a flayed human.
Oh.
That the gnolls are using as an obvious symbol to any that come close. Our rogue has seen signs of more of the gnolls moving around the area. They've found footprints and a few hyena droppings and things like that. So we know, they control the tower. We decide to move forward anyway. This is what we've come all this way for. We're not backing down.
There's a labyrinth to explore.
Exactly. The gnolls are just getting in the way of even us getting to that.
Yeah.
So, with the noise outside of someone revving a motorbike, we rev our way in.
Yeah.
And
hop onto your prized war bike.
Yeah.
As you head in, that's called Ploppy.
Yeah, that's right. So the wizard throws up one of their spells, covering us in invisibility as a group. It's like a bubble of invisibility.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
And we slowly make our way forward as best as we can. The horses don't like the smell of the hyenas, so we're trying to keep them under control. We get relatively close. We decide, right, that the horses will stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Wizard puts an alarm spell, so if anything comes close, we'll be alerted.
Yeah, you'll know about it, yeah.
We need the horses to get
you'll
back.
Nail the horses to the floor so they don't go anywhere.
So they're not going anywhere. Yeah. Nail their hooves to the floor.
Yeah, sorry. Stay there, Ploppy.
We start heading up towards the tower. We get relatively close before finally some of the hyenas...
They pick up the scent.
They've got our scent.
Yeah.
The wind catches our scent. They start freaking out. The gnolls start moving out. The invisibility has done its part, and we get into a nasty ruck with some more gnolls and a few more hyenas. But we're prepared this time. We're not caught out.
Yeah.
We've got spells prepared.
You got the upper hand.
We know what we're doing. We cut our way through them.
That's the prized Gnoll Warbiker zooms past.
Yes. Yes, the Gnoll Warbiker.
If only he would have an accident in Minecraft on that bike.
Speaking of which, this big Gnoll comes out.
Right.
Scar across his face.
Oh.
Greyed hair suggesting his age. Wielding 2 axes. 2 big axes. He comes charging in straight into our fighter.
It was like a barbarian
trying to
then.
Smash him backwards, yes.
Right, okay.
This berserker just starts laying into the fighter. And so it takes 2 or 3 of us to bring this big gnoll bastard down.
Right.
But area affecting spells and stuff like that quickly deal with some of the hyenas and other lesser gnolls. We break our way into the actual ruin of the tower.
The tower itself, yeah.
There's a few other gnolls in there hiding out, a few non-combatants, but the party's seeing red by now.
Yeah.
They're all injured.
Yeah.
They're desperate to get in to clear the area so that they've got the dungeon below for the next day. Smash their way through, killing, blasting with magic, the cleric calling upon the power of their god and smashing them down. And finally the gnolls
They're laid low.
are laid low. We see a few fleeing and out of the tower, but we feel that they're not likely to come back.
No,
anytime
not
soon.
after all of them just been butchered. Yeah.
We bring the horses up, do our best to find them somewhere where they're going to be secure. Obviously, heal our wounds where there's healing left to do so.
Yeah.
Set up a few bits and pieces. Check through what the gnolls have. Now, the two axes that the Berserker had both have lesser enchantment on.
Oh, well.
We're already making a little bit of cash.
That's good.
Most of the other gear the gnolls have is pretty basic stuff, basic bows, basic meat cleaver like weapons.
Right, okay. Yeah.
We don't think they're going to be worth anything. No one's going to want to buy gnoll weapons. So we chuck those aside. We find one set of okayish armour that might be suitable for someone a little larger. It's chainmail, so we think, yeah, this seems to be good quality chain. That might actually be worth a little. We put that into the pile, and we find a little bit of coin. The gnolls aren't exactly the type it seems to do much trading, so there's not much. What coin they've got seems to have been taken from others they've killed.
Right.
So there's not much in regards to treasure, but the treasure lies below.
Well, you've got your base camp now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in here. We find out that the gnolls of a portion of the level above is relatively safe. The gnolls obviously occasionally have someone up there watching, so we decide the same thing. At night, we're going to have someone up there keeping an eye out.
Okie dokie.
We get a night's rest. Everything's relatively quiet. We hear some noises off in the distance, probably the surviving gnolls licking their wounds, just trying to decide what they're going to do off in the forested area. Mm-hmm. But we see no sign of them. By morning, those sounds seems to have...
They've gone. Yeah,
They've gone, suggesting that they've decided to retreat. Clean ourselves up. Everyone's healed. We're ready to go. The dungeon's ready for us. Wizard puts up another spell.
Invisibility, yeah?
No. Alarm spell to keep the animals safe.
Right,
what if the gnolls return?
Yep,
We're going to be down there. Maybe we should have brought someone to keep hold of an eye on the animals, but that would have just been someone else we had to lug along, perhaps protect, someone else we had to pay. So, maybe that would have been a good idea. We've got a few spells to help protect things. That will do. We're going to be going in, clearing a few areas, heading back out. Going in, bit deeper, clearing a few areas. So that's
it's a labyrinth.
It's a labyrinth. That's the way we're
going to do. Lots of things.
That's how you deal with dungeons. You don't just try to break all the way through to the end. You take them in stages. You're cautious. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you're going to find further down.
No, as we know, there could be a Hydra down there, or not. As we found
not
in the previous one. Yeah,
there could be a not Hydra.
There could be a not Hydra. A Nidra.
So we find the entrance and head down the stairs. They're quite wide.
Okay.
So we're like, oh, okay. This isn't some narrow little staircase.
This wasn't just dug in at some point. Yeah, this was laid foundation.
So we head down. We enter a room. It's 60 by 60.
60 by 60. Okay.
Because we're dungeoneering now.
Okay.
There are doors to the east and west.
Okay. So you can go left or right.
However, the area stinks of offal and befoulment. This has been where
the gnolls
have been. No, this is where the gnolls have been keeping some of their hyenas.
Oh, okay, okay.
We find the carcass of one dead hyena down there, old and grey. Mm. But luckily, they'd pulled all of the hyenas up to attack, or some of them had fled. But the place stinks of their presence there.
Right.
Wet dog hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But nothing to fight. The area's relatively clear, so other than stepping over, basically
grime.
Yeah, grime and shit and bones of things they've gnawed on, we're perfectly fine. So, decide the east door.
Okay.
Rogue, I want it checked. Did the gnolls go through here? Is this another chamber they've used? The door doesn't seem to be locked. It's heavy oaken door with iron bands to strengthen it. The door isn't locked in any way, and yet the rogue can't seem to budge the damn thing. Is it stuck? As over the years it's warped slightly.
Okay.
We bring forth the fighter. and I place a strength spell upon them. Smash into the door 2 or 3 times, and finally, partially cracking some of the ancient wood, the door breaks open.
Right.
Darkness beyond, our torches illuminating, we move in. We're in a 20 by 60 chamber.
20 by 60, okay.
A single door to the west, now partially broken. The room seems completely empty.
Right, okay.
But there's a strange kind of movement of the air in here that doesn't seem natural. Maybe there is a secret passage here, and that's what we're looking for.
What's with the motorcyclists today?
I don't know. There's like 3 of them just rode past us. Yeah.
Is they open a bike shop
Revving their
nearby or something?
engines.
Christ,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry. Go. Sorry, listeners. Sorry.
So we decide to move in. The wizard is elven, so we think maybe
That's
the wizard's
unfortunate for
eyes.
them. My condolences.
Maybe the wizard's eyes. Maybe she can spot something.
Okay.
She starts moving in, not as needing of the torches as mere
This
humans.
is the low light vision, yes.
But then the wizard gives out a shriek,
Right.
as coming out of one of the walls is a dark spectre.
Oh, okay.
And out of one of the floor behind us, another dark spectre. And out of one of the other walls, a third dark spectre. Hands reaching out like spectral claws,
Okay.
and they begin attacking us. It's a sudden surprise attack. With the wizard being immediately injured, as spectres basically drain the life from you with their attacks.
Okay, right. That's like nasty then, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're talking like attribute damage with these things.
Yeah, they basically drain your constitution,
Yeah.
your stamina, your
Right,
very
yeah.
life force. And so the wizard panics and backs out of the chamber entirely. Fuck, the wizard's gone. Now we're fighting them with a wizard down as well, as they've fled,
Yeah.
injured and retreating. So, but we have the cleric. The cleric immediately channels.
Right, yeah. Positive energy, yeah.
Yeah. Wave of positive energy comes out. Each of the spectres for a second seems to almost be substantial, made of not flesh and blood, but like bone and so forth, with them screaming as there's the pain of you know,
Of
life
life,
force harms them. But unfortunately, none of them are destroyed, and we're going to have to fight them with what we've got.
Right.
It's
okay.
a nasty fight. These things don't do physical damage. They just harm your constitution. They just weaken you.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the ones we don't want weakened is the fighter. Because
He's got all the hit points, yeah.
Yeah, he's our tank. But they do get injured, as these things literally reach through the armor as if they're reaching in and crushing
Your heart.
your
and stuff,
heart
right,
kind of thing. It's nasty stuff. But cleric still has other spells and other abilities to support the party, and we dismiss them, we destroy them.
Right.
The last one making like a shrieking sound,
As it
leaving
fades away.
little piles of kind of like darkened dust.
Okay.
We manage to move. We head back out. We decide, let's head back up. Several people have been injured in a way cannot be easily healed. Our cleric can heal a little of the fighter's weakness, but the fighter now feels slow and easily tired, as their constitution has been heavily drained. The wizard, who didn't have a high constitution to start with, is also now pale.
Just feeling it, yeah.
Yeah. Decide we're going to have to leave it at that. Our first room, and we've taken some nasty hits from these things. So we rest up, have food. The following day, the cleric has prepared a few other spells. Rest allows them to recover a little,
Yeah.
and the cleric deals with the rest. We need the fighter fully
Fully
healed.
up, yeah.
We head back down into the chamber. Elf is a little nervous about heading in, the wizard, but moves in and scours. But we notice now the strange movement of the air
The
is
miasma
gone.
is gone, yeah.
There's no secret doors.
Oh,
This is a dead end.
right,
Damn.
okay.
Okay, well, for whatever reason, these shapes and shadows never decided to leave the chamber and attack
The gnolls, yeah, they just
Maybe they could only operating here. Maybe they were bound to this place through some...
Maybe they died there and they
died
became
there
spectres.
and can only operate there.
A typical haunting.
Yeah, so we're sort of like, damn, okay. But we have the western door.
The western door?
Okay. This one is must be barred from the inside somehow.
Okay.
As we cannot easily budge it. So, using one of the axes that we acquired, we start hacking the door. The fighter hacks through the door until the rest of it just kind of collapses. Whatever strength the door had just finally gives way. It just
ebbs away, yeah.
And we enter what appears to be another 20 by 60 empty room.
Right.
And we're like, well, this can't be right. This cannot be right because we know there's a dungeon.
There's a labyrinth, yeah. We've been sold on this labyrinth.
And it's also empty. Completely empty.
Right.
Again.
Okay.
So we bring the elf forward and they start to scan as best they can with their elven eyes. If only we'd had a dwarf with us who'd have been more suited to such
They may have been able
matters.
to see if there's any irregularities.
But the rogue is also assisting, also skilled at spotting something. And the rogue is the one that spots something.
Yeah.
Over here, I have found something.
Okay.
The rogue searches further. It's trapped.
Okay.
We decide to back out and leave the rogue to their work. The rogue managed to dismantle a trap that would have apparently released some kind of toxic gas.
Okay.
And opens some kind of small door. This must be it. This is going to be our entrance into the dungeon proper.
Right, okay.
They pull the thing open. The fighter moves in as well to guard. What if there's something beyond it? What if it's more undead that we're going to fight?
Yeah, could be.
We've already come across. Instead, it seems to be some kind of small shelved inner cabinet.
It's a cupboard.
Yeah. There's a few potions in there, some of which are still viable. Others have long since turned to mush.
Right.
Their magic depleting and the contents going sour.
Okay.
There's a few scrolls.
Right.
And they're suggesting this may have been a cubbyhole for a wizard or sorcerer or something. With a few potions, several scrolls. And a leather bag. The bag itself has long since mostly rotten away, with what looks like 100 platinum pieces, which is about 1,000
It's
gold.
a good amount of money, yeah.
There must be more. Where's the rest of the entrance to the dungeon?
Yeah.
Maybe we're not thinking this through. Maybe where the gnolls have kept their pets, that's where the secret door is.
Okay. So you go back out and you check this.
So this is, unfortunately, the stinking chamber of offal and befoulment.
Right.
We search, and we search for 2 days. We search the other 2 rooms.
Right, 2 days, okay.
There's nothing.
Okay, right, that's it. There's absolutely nothing.
There's nothing. There's no dungeon. That was it.
Wait, so the dungeon was a stairwell into a main room with 2 off rooms.
Each of them empty, barring one had some undead in it.
Right, and the other one had a trap that protected mouldy potions.
Some mouldy potions, a couple that were still okay.
So oh god. And that was it? There was nothing else? Was that the entire adventure?
That was it, and we headed back.
And you went home? Right.
That was it.
Was there a net loss in the end?
I don't know. I mean, the 1,000 gold pieces probably would have more than covered the expense of a month's worth of food and stuff, because that probably cost us about 100 gold.
So basically, what you did was you cleared out.
It took us 2 weeks to make 900 gold and a few potions and a couple of scrolls.
And you cleared out a gnoll encampment, essentially. Yeah. It's
I guess the 2 enchanted axes, they were worth. We sold them for about 500 each. So that was another 1,000.
But you'd been sold on this labyrinth, so like
we were told we had been sold by someone information to a tower that was said to have a dungeon underneath it.
Okay.
And that the tower had been built specifically on top of the dungeon.
So post game, was the intent was that you were misled by this NPC who had told you?
No, just our good old friend, the Dungeon Master, had just decided that when it came to it, 3 rooms seemed fine for a dungeon. When I said it was not so much a dungeon as a basement...
Right, yeah. Which it was.
Which it was. He was less than pleased by my description.
The adventurer's basement. That's impressive. Mm-hmm. Now, by the way, how much of this, again, because obviously you have in the past...
Oh.
You've added a bit of flavour and character to certain events, but how much of it was actually described in the way that you said? Well, did our friend the Dungeon Master describe the offal and the bones and the dead hyena in the corner, the old wizened one that obviously was a member?
He said there was a dead hyena, and he said that there was like bones and stuff down there that they chewed on.
Because I'm imagining you've painted a much grander picture of this.
Well, I assumed there must be quite the stench of the place.
Because everyone would be listening would be thinking that the way that you've described, like, sounds in the distance and obviously the approach and all, like, so building some of the tension going up to the tower, a lot of that probably wasn't anywhere near as interesting as you made that sound.
Perhaps not quite as it might have been a little overly descriptive compared to the original.
Would you say almost entirely descriptive?
Well, there's descriptions obviously happening.
There's a tower.
There's a tower.
You say, right,
a broken tower.
So you say I'm going to sneak up to it under an invisibility spell. All right, you do that.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well. So yeah, another fine.
So instead of is it cake, I'm asking those the 3 or 4 of you that have listened to this
know what it is
to the end. Is it dungeon?
Is it dungeon? Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the question. Is it dungeon?
Thank you again, bro, for going into the pits of despair and depression. Of your Pathfinder sessions once again.
I just hope that people enjoyed it as much as I did.
And
you can't believe that the half an hour it's taken me to describe all this is pretty much how long the adventure lasted. A few encounters and a dungeon with no dungeon.
And that was it. That was it. The game was over.
And then it's like a week later you've returned back to the city.
Well, yeah. Don't worry though, because we do have another one. Don't we? We have the. Should we call it Dead Man Island?
Yeah, let's not ruin things for people.
Well, Dead Man Island, right?
Yes, Dead Man Island.
I think that's a good name for that.
Yeah, it is a good name for it.
Yeah. Dead Man Island. That'll be our next one. But thanks everyone for listening. This has probably gone on far too long already.
Yeah, far too long. I'm sure you're bored senseless.
We'll catch you all next time for another Bros Bad Gaming. Thank you, bro. And thank you all for listening.
Because it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. And that's
also, Mr. GM has just arrived at the door, so bye.
Oh, quit! Cancel!